Okay, now we're going to lead off to the AWA Field Report by Leslie Bullock. Leslie, take it away.
This is Leslie Bullock, and I am doing a field report for the Anime Weekend Atlanta 2015. Now, Anime Weekend Atlanta, or AWA, is of course, as the name states, an anime convention. Even though that it's mostly anime, there are a lot of people dressed up as different characters that are not necessarily anime characters. Such as I have seen quite a few of the Doctor come through. I have seen some Harry Potter characters. I have seen a lot of the anime characters though. And since the dress code has changed for the cosplaying, there have been a lot fewer skimpy and nearly gone costumes this year. Though there have been some more elaborate costumes that I have seen. I have seen quite a few furry costumes as well. So those people are with us as well. Now I do know that while I was wandering around on Friday, I did see quite a few of our artists in Artist Alley were not there until later on in the day. However, by the time I left about 4 o'clock, still those few had not arrived. Well, a few of those had not arrived. On Saturday morning, the con opened at the Artist Alley and dealers' rooms opened at 10 o'clock in the morning. It is normal for it to open at that time, and there were quite a few people coming in. There was a very long line, and it was doubled and tripled on Saturday morning before the show even opened up. Some of our friends in the dealer's room were back for a repeat performance. Crunchyroll was there, as well as our friends that love to tie you up at Timeless Trends Corsets. In the Artist Alley, we were there at Hero Central Studio, but I did also notice that my personal friends over at A&A Artistry were also having a table in the Artist Alley. The Artist Alley, the AWA store, did have some rather surprising voices show up, as in when they started suddenly speaking over a loudspeaker. It scared some of the con-goers. One of them that was at the Hero Central Studio table actually jumped because she was surprised by the voices. Most of the Artist Alley tables were selling art prints and jewelry, and that's what most everyone was selling over in the Artist Alley. However, there were a few that were going off that way a little bit. Some were selling hats and scarves and homemade plushies. I do know that there were very few people selling buttons. Hero Central Studio was, of course, one of those, but they sold like flapjacks. Those buttons sold like hotcakes. The con-goers were not very interested in giving interviews, so I'm going to go on my personal experience during this con. I was able to visit with some of the friends over in the dealer's room and wander around to see what types of wares that they were selling. On the very far wall to the left when you enter, we did have 3 or 4 food trucks in there, and one of them had a very fun name. It was Vietnamese. Vietnommies. It was a very cute play on words, of course, and from what I've heard, it was delicious food. I did see quite a few costumes for sale. Quite a few bookstores had their books out. They were selling videos of animes on DVD and Blu-ray. There were even people selling weapons, swords, Japanese swords, a lot of those, as well as kimonos and steampunk outfits. In the very back of the dealer's room / artist alley area, there were long marked off line areas for autographs for the guests that were visiting. I do know that if there was a pregnant person in the line, then, or an elderly person in the line, then they were taken out of the line and were given autographs for the people, but they did not want them to stand in the line and become exhausted or have problems such as for the pregnant people being jostled around and hit. That would not have been a very good thing, so what they did was take the people over to the side, gave them a seat to sit in, and took their items, or went up to the guest and got their signatures, their autographs for the guests that were being seated. Sunday was rather fun. We were able to see quite a few more people, though it did end a bit earlier than it did on Saturday. We were able to sell quite a few buttons during our visit there, and we sold a lot of our mini 8-pager comics. Because since they were inexpensive, people could use their pocket change on Sunday to pick up last-minute small items. Thankfully, ours were very inexpensive, and we were able to sell a lot more during that time period. Most people were holding on to a lot of their money until they could get to the sales at the end of the con. Even after the artist alley closed, when you went out into the lobby area, there were many people posing in their cosplay costumes for photographs in spectacular form. Though it was kind of difficult to get around the people, because they would stop in front of everyone to do a pose, because people would stop them to get their pictures taken. Though I do remember one person who had her picture taken with some of the characters, even though she was not in a cosplay outfit. It was just as if they had dragged her through time into this venue, this area where she was now in their world. So that, I'm sure, was rather fun for them. There were not a lot of free items at the mini booths, the mini artist alley tables. And I do know that there are not any free items at the dealers' booths. So when we were able to give away some free things, more people would stop by just to take the free things and get a look at what we actually were selling. We were able to sell some of our Soboko books, which are our kid-friendly mangas. We were not able to sell too much, and this show was a little slow, I guess, compared to what I'm used to the years before. A lot of people were mostly browsing and not spending money at all. Hopefully next year will be a lot better.
Thank you very much, Leslie Bullock, for your field report on that trade show convention, the anime convention. I want to thank everybody involved with the Hero Central podcast. Definitely to you, News Monkey, and to Leslie Bullock this month, as well as productions over at Hero Central TV. If you have any questions or any complaints or any comments, or would like to be interviewed on this release or give us any news updates, definitely email us at www.herocentralstudio@gmail.com. Everyone else, ciao.